Here's the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Shabbat Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Bracha Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders, our great millstone who rule well. And peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I just want to go into this real quick. Basically, just rolling through the spirit. All right, and as we're inching closer and closer, all right, to the end of this ministry, we're starting to see all the signs pointing to certain things that are about to befall certain of us in this truth, in this ministry. Okay, pretty much the times of Jacob's trouble is upon us. All right, a lot of these things that you're starting to see, the train derailments and food shortages and all these different things are all tactics that Esau is using. All right, as he's sieging the land. Okay, and these are all ancient tactics that's been used before. All right, but they're just being modernized. Okay, they're being redefined, if you will. All right, now the part I wanted to focus more on is this prophecy that the Lord gave us in Revelation 2 and 10. All right, because in the time of all this calamity, all the troubles that we're about to face, as a men of the Lord, some of us are going to go through some very tough times. All right, and it's all going to be an effort that Esau is going to try to use for us to denounce our faith. Okay, for us to turn our backs, all right, on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but that's not going to happen. Okay, now I'm going to go into what we could potentially be facing. All right, if you go into what Yahweh Shai said in Revelation 2 and 10, what are certain things that we could possibly be facing in the very near future? All right, we already know about the guillotines and so on and so forth. All right, the beheadings. All right, that's going to be happening very soon. All right, you go into something known as the Noahide laws. All right, it goes into all that. But what I want to focus on is this prophecy. All right, and then Lord willing, we'll close it out. Okay, so Revelation chapter 2 verse 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. So it means that we're going to come a time where we're going to go through some pain, some suffering. Okay, it says the devil shall cast some of you into prison. All right, meaning some of us are going to be arrested under false pretense, false claims. All right, because we know how these devils work. Okay, and they're right now as we speak, they're building up a case. All right, so that they could seem justified in the eyes of the people when they come upon us with that great wrath. Okay, so that the narrative is being built right now as we speak. Okay, it says the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. Right, meaning what? You be tested. Whatever it is that we're going to go through, we're going to be tested, and that's where you have people who are going to denounce their faith, and those who are going to stand firm. Okay, be bold in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, it says, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Okay, tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Okay, so what are some of the things when you go into that word tribulation? Okay, it says here, it says a pressing together or pressure. It says a metaphor for oppression, affliction. All right, distress and straits. Okay, to go through what? Anguish. Okay, persecution. To be afflicted. Okay, to be afflicted. All right, so we're going to go through some type of physical affliction. And through that physical affliction, all right, the Lord will deliver us. Okay, we will get a crown of life at the end of that ordeal. Okay, but one thing I want to go into, all right, is something known as EIE or EI. Something that the CIA actually does Okay, something known as enhanced interrogation. Okay, now these are certain things that we could potentially face. All right, and I'm going to read some of these tactics that these devils use, okay, on their victims. Okay, so let's read. It says the CIA's detention and interrogation program allowed the use of so-called enhanced interrogation techniques on detainees captured after 9/11. It was conducted between 2002 and 2009, which I believe is still going on till today, but it's not being reported on, with the authorization of officials in the Bush administration's White House and the Department of Justice. Guess what? A lot of these people who are in Bush's administration, they still hold some type of influential power in today's administrations. Okay? The Department of Justice, they're still there till today. All right? So there are certain things that goes on that people might not know about, but guess what? It's happening behind closed doors. Either under a different name, or it's completely hidden. That's all it is. Okay? So continue, it says, during that time, 119 detainees were held in CIA custody, and at least 39 were subjected to these techniques. These techniques can constitute torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment, both illegal under U.S. and international law. Several detainees were waterboarded, and the CIA often used combinations of tactics such as sleep deprivation of detainees kept in stress positions, or sensory deprivation of detainees who were shackled and in solitary confinement. This document explains what the so-called enhanced interrogation and related interrogation techniques are, and the physical and psychological effects of their use. Number one is waterboarding. I'm pretty sure we've heard, all right, that word or that term waterboarding. I remember during the time of Obama, okay, they used to talk about that a lot. All right, waterboarding is a well-known torture tactic. Waterboarding creates the sensation of asphyxiation or drowning. The detainee is immobilized on his back, and water is poured over a cloth covering his face. Far from the dunk in the water that Dick Cheney has referred to, internal CIA reports describe instances of waterboarding as, quote, near drownings. Detainees were often waterboarded repeatedly. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was waterboarded at least 183 times. Another detainee, Abu Zubaydah, was waterboarded so often that it led him at least once to become completely unresponsive, with bubbles rising through his mouth. All right. This torture tactic may also lead to bleeding from the ears, severe lung and brain damage, and lasting psychological damage. Okay, and we know, all right, that you had a lot of these so-called scientists, all right, who were during the time of the Nazi regime, okay, in Germany, after World War II, they were brought over to America. A lot of them were brought over to the Americas, all right, to serve and to train, all right, people in the CIA, the FBI, and so on and so forth. Okay, so things like MK Ultra, all right, these are just little things that they've learned and they've used on people in real time, in real life. And these are things that we can expect, all right, because again, according to prophecy, we're going to go through tribulation. We're going to go through some type of suffering, okay? And these are kind of the things that we're going to expect to go through, And it only makes sense that the Lord will deliver us from something like this, And that's the faith that we have. It says, the next one is walling. All right, it says this technique involves encircling the detainee's neck with a collar or towel and slamming him against a wall. Despite a requirement to use a false wall to avoid injury, Abu Zubaydah was initially slammed against a concrete wall. Even in the event that a false wall was used, detainees suffered extreme injury. Abu Jafar al-Iraqi suffered from an edema or swelling on his head as a consequence of walling with the use of a false wall. The next thing is sleep deprivation. It says the detainees were kept awake by being shackled, forced to stand, or kept in a stress position or kept in stress positions in an attempt to destroy their capacity for psychological resistance. Okay? This was routinely combined with nudity and or round-the-clock interrogation. Although not overtly violent, extended periods of sleep deprivation could have painful and damaging mental and psychological effects. It says, mental and physical effects, Salakia. Also psychological, all right, going into the mental. It says, after being forced to stand for 54 hours, Abu Jafar al-Iraqi required blood thinners to treat the swelling in his legs. Following 56 hours without sleep, Arsala Khan suffered from violent hallucinations of dogs mauling and killing his family. Okay? The next thing is standing on broken feet. As an extreme form of sleep deprivation, two detainees, Abu Hazim and Abd al-Karim, were forced to stand for hours with broken feet. Despite recommendations that he avoid weight bearing for 3 months, Abu Hazim underwent 52 hours of standing sleep deprivation on his broken foot barely a month after his diagnosis. While injured, these detainees were also subjected to walling. Solitary confinement. Detainees were regularly confined with no opportunity for social interaction. This was often combined with nudity, sensory deprivation, total darkness or constant light, and shackling. Abu Zubaydah was isolated naked in a cell with bright lights and white noise or loud music playing. At one point, he was kept for 47 days in total isolation. The dangers of solitary confinement were recognized by the United States Supreme Court as early as 1890 in Ray Medley, where the court described prisoners becoming violently insane, committing suicide, and the partial loss of their mental activity. Stress positions. These positions were designed to cause pain and discomfort for extended periods of time and were often used in combination with sleep deprivation. Detainees were shackled with their arms over their heads, forced to stay standing, or were placed in cramped confinement, such as coffin-sized boxes. Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri was subjected to improvised stress positions that not only caused cuts and bruises, but led to the intervention of a medical officer who was concerned al-Nashiri's shoulders would be dislocated. Abu Zubaydah, and this guy went through a lot, was confined to a coffin-shaped box for a total of 11 days. Straight, man. It's crazy. The next one is rectal feeding and rectal exams. It wouldn't be, of course, Esau is behind all this. We know what kind of devil he is, right? It says rectal feeding was used for prisoners who refused food and entails the insertion of a tube containing pureed food into the detainee's anal passage. This was used for behavior control without medical necessity, despite risks of damage to the colon and rectum or of food rotting inside the digestive tract. One detainee, Mustafa Ahmed al-Hawsawi, suffered a rectal prolapse likely caused by overly harsh rectal exams. The next one is nudity. This form of sexual humiliation relies on cultural and religious taboos. So they know exactly why they're doing these things. They know what the laws are, but Esau is going to try to break them. Again, his goal is to break you to the point of submission and basically turning your back on your laws and your faith. That's what it means to go on the trial. Okay? Our faith is going to be tested heavily because we're not going to back down. So this form of sexual humiliation relies on cultural and religious taboos and required detainees to be fully or partially naked during interrogations or when shackled. So imagine that. Okay? Imagine that. Nudity was also regularly combined with cold temperatures and cold showers. One detainee, Gul Rahman, died of suspected hypothermia following 48 hours of sleep deprivation, half naked in an extremely cold room. See? Threats. Detainees were threatened with further physical torture as well as violence, death, or sexual abuse against their family. One CIA officer reported a cordless drill near Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri's body while he was blindfolded. KSM was threatened with the death of his children and the abuse of his mother. Several instances of mock executions were also reported. Such threats have been shown to induce extreme fear and loss of control, recurring nightmares, and intrusive memories, which are strongly associated with PTSD and major depression. 18 U.S. Code 2340. The United States defines torture as an act committed by a person acting under the color of law specifically intended to inflict severe physical or mental pain or suffering, other than pain or suffering incidental to lawful sanctions, upon another person within his custody or physical control. So being in prison is in their custody or in physical control. Okay? The severity of harm caused by interrogation technique is key in determining whether it constitutes torture. All right? Now, it's crazy because these things are not, there's nothing new under the sun. Okay, let me get that. There's no new thing under the sun, man. All right? Because this event or these kind of torture methods have happened before to our people. Okay, when you go into the book of 2nd Maccabees, all right, you got the Maccabee, the family of 7, all right, and their mother. All right, there's 7 brothers and their mother who underwent this type of tortures. Those kind of tortures where it was under them not denouncing their faith. So if we're about to face the same thing, then we can expect these kind of things to happen to us. Okay? It's something that we can think about. All right? And we always continue to pray that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh shall have mercy on us when we come into these times. Okay? There's a book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, "The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." Okay, so the things that have been done are the same things that are also going to be done again. Okay, just in the modern day terms, in the modern day way, to the modern day people. All right. So I'm going to jump into the book of 2nd Maccabees real quick. All right, and just pick out some points. All right, and then we're going to close it out. All right, it's the book of 2nd Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, "It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken, and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith, being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first." Isn't that a torture method? Right? "And to cut off the utmost part of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on." So they're going to be watching a brother getting tormented. Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, his arms, his feet, okay, his legs, all right, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, The Lord Yahweh looketh upon us, and in truth hath comfort in us. As Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, And he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head, they scalped him. All right, with the hair, they asked him, Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? But he answered in his own language, which was Hebrew. And this time, remember, this was the Greeks. I believe it was under Antiochus. All right, if I'm not mistaken. All right. It says, and said, No. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, Thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died on his laws unto everlasting life. And that's Yahushai. Okay? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai will raise us up. All right? And he said what? That we be patient, all right, unto death, and we shall receive a crown of life. Okay, so we're gonna come back. All right, even through these times, we will come back right away. The moment you get, either you make it through this and you suffer some type of death by way of guillotine because you denounce these devils and you stand firm upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, yo, you're gonna get a crown of life. All right, you're good. All right, you're gonna be one of the brothers that returns with Yahushai, man. Okay, so let's keep going. It says, verse 10, After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hand manfully, or hands manfully. All right, so he stuck his tongue out and put his hand out. He said, whatever you're going to do, just do it. And said courageously, These I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them. So yeah, you gave me this, but for his laws, I despise them. You could cut them off. I will stand firm. I'd rather lose these than to break the law of the Heavenly Father, man. And this was what? Swine. Jake be eating bacon and all kinds of shit right now like it's nothing. But you had Jake back then that stood firmly that they would rather die than to eat swine, man. You know? In this case, in this time, all right, the abomination of getting microchipped, okay, stands as firm as it did back then with the swine. Okay? So we have to stand manfully, even if our lives are required, we're going to do that. All right? That's what it means to die manfully, all right, for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, to be a martyr. Okay? So continuing, verse 11, it says, And he said courageously, These I had from heaven, and for this law, or for his laws, I despise them, and from him I hope to receive them again. All right, so we're going to get those new bodies regardless. All right, that's the mindset you got to have, that, yeah, we're going to go through this shit, but that's okay. All right, because guess what? The Lord has to prepare that new body for you. So the moment you die, your spirit is inheriting a new body. All right. So continue in verse 12, In so much that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. Now when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, It is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from the Most High to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Afterward, they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Then looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. That's that do what thou wilt spirit. That's that Trump spirit. All right. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of the Most High. Right. So the Lord said, what? He has reserved unto himself 7,000 men that shall not bow the knee unto the image of Baal. Okay. So you have men who are on this earth right now who are going to stand firm, and that's why Esau is going to come upon the earth having great wrath, because of the men who are standing stiffly against this shit, man. Okay, and standing against his agenda. All right, that's the fear of the Most High that they're going to experience. Okay, they'll fear the name of the Most High from the west, is because they're going to see the bravery, the courage of these men. Wow, what is this, man? What is going on? Who are these men? You know, what are they made of? You know? So continue, it says, verse 17, but abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. All right? So 1,000 years, Esau, you're going to be tormented. 1,000 years of slavery, man. All right? And your world is coming to an end quickly. All right? Very, very quickly. Okay? So it says, verse 18, after him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. Okay? And I believe, let me see if I can get this quick precept here. All right, damn, I forget what prophet said that I will bear the indignation, all right, of the Heavenly Father, for I have sinned against him. Okay, let me see if I can get that real quick. All right, let me see real quick. Let's see. Right, there's a book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 9. It says, I will bear the indignation of the Lord Yahweh, because I have sinned against him, until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. He will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. All right, so that's the mindset that we're going to be in. That, yeah, you doing all this torture shit to us, just like Yahushua had to go through what he went through. It wasn't just to take the burdens, all right, of the sins of the elect, all right, but also to atone for the sins that he committed as Adam and as Solomon. Okay, so it's all spiritual, man. All right, through reincarnation, we all have to go through certain things. Okay, ultimately, it's going to result in the blessing. All right, that we're going to inherit the kingdom of heaven, but it's going to go through some shit. Hey, the Apostle Paul said it. All right, that we through much tribulation shall inherit the kingdom. So that's the tribulation. Okay, that's the tribulation right there. The torture, the torments, to force us to denounce our faith, but we will prevail through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Yahushai said he's going to keep us, all right, in the hour of temptation. So when it comes a time where, you know, the most people will break, nah, we're going to stand strong, man. We're going to stand firm. Okay, we're going to stand firm as we're reading right now. Okay, it's happened before, and it'll happen again. All right, it'll happen again. The Lord said, then shall they be known who are my chosen. It'll happen again. All right, so let's continue. Verse 19, 2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 19, it says, but think not thou that takest in hand to strive against the Most High, that thou shalt escape unpunished. Okay, but the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy to be worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, and she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in the Lord. So can we say that the mother is potentially here today? Of course. All right, through reincarnation. All right, so she could see the glory of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, something that she called for all those years ago, back during this time. Okay, is a high possibility that those same men are back here again. All right, those 7 brothers are back here again. All right, they might be in any of these major camps, but they're all back here. All right, who knows? Okay, but it's a high possibility. Okay, there's no new thing under the sun. All right, so continuing. All right, it's symbolic. Okay, but let's get this real quick. These people are weird, man. All right. So continuing verse 21, it says, "Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell you how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. But doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again." All right, that's that reincarnation. We'll come back again. But ultimately, even if we die on this side, we're going to come back again. This time we're coming back with Yahushua in our glorious apparel, which is our new bodies. Okay, it says and it says, "As ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake." Okay, it says, "Now Antiochus," there you go, "thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs." That's that smooth talk right there. All right, denounce your faith. Take this MOTB. Be part of the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies. All right, and we're not going to do anything to you anymore. No. It's non-negotiable. All right, your laws don't apply to us. Our laws apply to everyone. All right, so let's continue. It says, "But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him," right? Just like I said, it's non-negotiable, right? It says what? It says, "But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she should counsel the young man to save his life." So he said, "Lady, come here for a second. Why don't you go speak to your son? Because if not, we're gonna kill him. Let him know so he can take this thing. If not, we're gonna kill him." Right? And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake her country language on this manner: "O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up into this age, unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that the Most High made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren." See, that's courageous right there, man. Now, you how many women do you know in this time will have this type of courage? You see, now the Lord has to bless us with the spirit of courage to go through these things, but ultimately you have to show it. All right, you have to be willing to take death. All right, than to bow your knee to this devil, man. All right. So continuing, while she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, "Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that has been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of the Most High." And who has been the mischief, the author of mischief against the Hebrews all this while? The house of Esau Edom. Okay, the house of Esau Edom, man. And modern day today, house of Esau Edom, we're looking no further than the Rothschild family. You got establishments like the World Economic Forum. All right. So let's continue. You got Bill Gates. All right. So let's continue. It says, "And thou," no, I read that. It says, "For we suffer because of our sins." All right, we suffer because of our sins, man. All right, so I'm gonna pause it right there. Okay. And I'm gonna leave it off there because that's really the point I wanted to bring out. Okay, that we're gonna go through all these times. All right, Revelation 2 and 10. But we gotta be faithful. All right, be faithful to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua unto death. All right, and He shall give us a crown of life. Okay, He shall give us a crown of life, man. All right, so we gotta go through it. We have to go through it. Yahushua went through it. He said, "What? The servant is not greater than the master." All right, but ultimately, remember this. Let's leave it off with this: that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is with us every step of the way. Okay, don't forget that. There's the book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, "Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord Yahweh thy power is with thee, whithersoever thou goest." All right? So we're not alone. We don't walk alone. Stand firm in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and He will fight for us. All right? He will fight for us, man. So I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you've been edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakudash, the water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.